What's going on, beautiful people? My name is Hank. I'm here with my boy Vince. And today, this is the first episode of Behind the Lyrics.
Yes.
And what we're doing is basically giving just more depth into my music. And I thought the best way to do it was to have my manager, kind of do it in an interview style. So without further ado, I give you my boy Vince.
Hank, man, why don't we start this conversation off by you giving us a short explanation of who Hank actually is?
Well, Hank is an artist, of course.
Okay.
And Hank is myself. And also, Hank stands for Harvest and Nurture Knowledge. So it's an acronym I came up with because Hank is also the nickname for Henry, which is my real name.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I decided to make it an acronym just to give it more meaning, you know what I'm saying? So,
Understood.
Just always willing to learn, always trying to just, harvest and nurture the knowledge that I gain so I can continue to be better.
Better.
Hey, we on to something though.
Continue to be
smooth,
better.
though. You know what I mean?
I ain't mad at it.
But I gotta keep it real.
Nah, I love it. So I appreciate you explaining that. I think it'll give some context to the type of content you're putting out.
For sure.
And I, would like to congratulate you on even being in this seat because I know what this means. We're about to start the new year with some heat. Month after month.
A few that really know the work that's gone into this, man.
Month after month, the story of getting here. One day everybody will know. But right now we're focused on the first track of the year.
Yes, sir.
And the name of this track is Good Intentions. The conversation will begin with, where did this song come from? What space were you in when you thought of Good Intentions? Before we get into any lyrics, where were you when you wrote this song?
Honestly, this was just like a place where I just decided on my own that I'm just trying to write.
Okay.
One of my goals in October was just to become a better songwriter and really just focus on getting material for the new year.
Okay.
So when I sat down, I came with the chord progression first and then kind of just let the lyrics flow. And
Okay.
honestly, it was just a moment, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it just came really naturally.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a spiritual person.
Come on and talk about
I
it.
feel like God was using me. But no, seriously, it was just a moment where just everything flowed naturally.
Okay.
It just came out really organic, and it just came together quick. I wrote it in like 30 minutes.
Now, see, before you get ahead of yourself, let's talk about the structure of the song. Because me, being your manager, I'm around for most of the content being created. So let's talk shop.
Indeed.
All right? Now, usually your process with making songs, do you feel like it starts with the music first or the lyrics first? What happened with Good Intentions? Did it start with the words?
Well, in this case, I did play progression first, but for most of the songs that I wrote, because I got in a really good groove in October. I wrote probably like 15, 20 songs.
Indeed.
And I just was like locked in.
Yeah.
But with Good Intentions, and most of my songs, I really wanted to challenge myself to write before I focus so much on the production. So I kind of doing it backwards. Usually I'll do production first and then go back and write. But in this case, I just decided, let me write. Let me really focus on the lyrics. Let me really focus on just being intentional with what I'm saying and really find a story behind every song.
Okay. And what I can say to that is I can feel the difference with this track.
For sure.
Because I feel like with you completing the song with the lyrics first, the music brought those lyrics to life.
I appreciate it,
for
bro.
sure. The vibe, I told you when I heard it, it was a very visual song. But I think that this track you're releasing to the people, man, is definitely going to set the pace for a lot of your current fans and your new fans to see what we have to come.
Yeah, that's the goal, man.
And I'm excited. I'm going to start right off with the first intro. All right. You start off with a bar that says, lost on a shelf, a game of hide and seek with myself. Can't blame nobody else. Now, I have an inclination on what that bar might mean because I know you're a fan of Pixar.
Oh, yeah, you already know.
You see, I didn't share this with you, nigga. I can't say nigga.
Bro, you can say it,
I
bro.
apologize. Don't be offended.
Look,
but
this is family friendly, yo. We are family friendly, but
Bleep that out.
sometimes, look, we got good intentions.
just bleep it out. I feel like I understand where you're going with that lyric. If you can give me a short understanding of what that first three lines means.
Well, yeah, so the inspiration honestly did come from Disney, watching Toy Story.
Toy Story.
It's the Toy Story 2 where Woody ripped his arm and
Yeah.
they put him on the shelf.
Come on.
You know what I mean? And
he had to take a seat on the bench.
Look, that was the vibe. You know what I mean? Because honestly, that's how I felt a lot of, just like when in the last season of me just trying to figure out what I'm doing with music and outside of just like the production and just like trying to figure out and playing drums. I'm a drummer too, so you know, outside of just touring and being a musician, one of the things I really wanted to focus on was who Hank is and who he's gonna be. So it's like, you know, at one point I did feel super lost. You know what I mean? And I was forcing a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I said can't blame nobody else but me, because I was doing a lot of things that was unnecessary.
Wow.
You know, but really forced.
So the loss on the shelf part, do you feel like it is contributed to not necessarily operating in your musician capacity and kind of being a babe in the artist capacity?
Sure. Yeah, I think that's what it stems from a lot, because I've done so much as a drummer.
Yeah.
You know, at a high level. Now
talk about
like,
it.
You know, I'm gonna talk a little bit about it. You know, I've toured the world. I've traveled. I've done a lot. I've been very blessed to do what I love at the highest level.
Yeah.
So now it's like starting from the ground level as an artist. You know what I mean? Like, this is all new for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of people, they still don't see me as that.
Yeah.
You know, they see me as a drummer. They see me as, you know, this dude from high school, or this guy who plays for Big Sean. Like, that's about it.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm trying to not separate it, because drums is that's my passion. That's my first love.
Sure.
But I want to really kind of just come into my own as an artist.
Yeah.
So people respect that as well.
I love it, man. Thank you for being vulnerable right now, man.
Bro, you already know.
It takes courage.
This
brother.
is what this is about.
It takes courage, man. One of the parts that jumped out in the first verse, actually, there's a bar you have that says, "It's been a minute since I was in it. Fully loaded thoughts, the wrong ammunition." Now, the way I felt when I heard this was, I don't want to say a worrier. I'm a thinker. Sometimes I get lost in my thoughts. Sometimes I will make things bigger than they are. Sometimes I'll go down the rabbit hole when it's unnecessary.
Sure.
Now, when you say wrong ammunition, fully loaded thoughts, to me that gives me the vibe of a heavy mind, a clouded mind, chaotic mind.
100%.
What Hank are you talking about in that bar?
There's a lot of Hanks.
Come on and talk about it.
There's a lot of areas of Hank.
Only if you're comfortable, brother.
No, but it's
also
it's also like, it's not necessarily just Hank, but you know, like I said, Hank is the artist, but Henry is the person. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's where a lot of that stems from, because it's like I know who I am and want to be. You know, as a person, as a man, as a husband, like all of that stuff. So it's like, I think about all of those things, and it's like when I feel like I'm falling short, you know, my mind starts racing. And also like feeling like I'm falling short with my goals and with my dreams and just not where I want to be, you know, career-wise and just all of those things, you know what I mean? So it's like constantly overthinking, constantly trying to figure out how I reach that next level.
Sure.
But falling short at the same time.
For sure.
I mean? But yes, mainly overthinking.
So in my mind, I highlighted that part because it was very relatable to me.
For sure.
How does Hank deal with that? How do you deal with exchanging the wrong ammunition to the right ammunition? What does that look like? Are you still figuring that out?
Yeah, I'm definitely figuring it out. You know what I mean? I'm figuring it out every day. But just like, honestly, just trying to get rid of fear, doubt. Those are like two of the most, just like, to me, killers of joy. Yeah. It's like in comparison. Comparison is another huge one.
Comparison of Hank to
anyone.
Other. Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like when you can kind of just erase that from your mind for a little bit and just kind of separate, you know, reality versus what you see on the screen, you know what I mean? Then you can kind of find that peace. You know, that's why I just separated myself. Like the rest of the year, you know, I've been off social media, you know, coming into this new year. Yeah. So it's like, it was for me just a way to just be like, all right, let me focus on me. Yeah. Let me get myself right, my mind right, and just go from there.
Has that been helpful?
Oh, man. I love it.
It's clearing mental space for you?
It's amazing.
Okay.
I don't be knowing what people be talking about when they tell me, hey, did you see this? I'm like, nah, I didn't. Yeah. I'm going to catch you next year.
Yeah. That's an interesting approach, because as an artist, to me, like I said this before to Hank, I think it takes a special type of person to be an artist because it requires you to expose yourself in ways that most people are not comfortable with doing. So I could definitely see cleanses of social media maybe just a couple steps away, whether it's a week or two or maybe a month or two, being healthy for your mental state.
You just gotta realize, like, you know, you get into that place where you think everything you see is reality, but it's not. You know what I mean? For me, that's what I had to remember, because it's like, especially as a musician, it's just, you know, vulnerable again. Just being vulnerable, letting you know, like, when you see your friends touring and doing all this stuff, and you like, man, I haven't been on tour in a minute. You know what I mean? You start to think about stuff. You start to take your mind away from where it was. Yeah. Because at one point, I wasn't thinking about touring. I was just focused on music.
Talk about it.
You know, but then you get on social media, you be like, dang, I want to go back on tour. Dang, I missed this. Dang, I missed that. But, you know, it's like, that's that comparison game, and that's like, you can't really control that.
God, I have so much I want to say to that. I'm going to bring up this next bar, and we're going to tap back into that, okay?
Let's do it.
Now, Hank decided to say, prison state of mind. I'm making bad decisions, solitary confined to my own religion. I feel like that's saying a lot.
Oh, it is.
In 2 lines. Because I know we both grew up in church. We have spiritual backgrounds.
You already know.
And I feel like you tapping into it. Not necessarily shade.
Yeah, not at all.
But I feel like there's something there.
Definitely. And this, for me, it was just like, the prison state of mind was more so just like me in that state of mind where it's like, I know I shouldn't be doing certain things.
Okay.
But it was constantly just something that you couldn't, you know, just get away from. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, you telling yourself, you know this ain't right, you know this, and you know you need to get rid of this or kind of do away with something, but you still find yourself there. And that's kind of like that prison state of mind, you know, like, that's why, unfortunately, a lot of people end up back in jail. You know, that's why I use that line, as prison state of mind.
Wow.
And then, you know, solitary confined to my own religion is just because I was doing it my way. You know what I mean? Like, I know what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah. But I decided to just be me and do what I want to do and just not even worry about it. You know, you think about the consequences later, but in those moments. But yeah, it's definitely, this song is really that song that's like, kind of, it's touching on so much of what I've been going through.
And I feel like that's why I listen to the song so much, because it's really a representation of the human experience, right? Starting from the title all the way up into the lyric that we're on currently, it's talking about where our hearts might be, but what our experience might be. It sometimes it doesn't always match up.
For sure.
So for me, I appreciate you being open enough and transparent enough to talk about it.
Definitely.
Because some of these things are uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
Even to say out loud, some of these things might be uncomfortable to our friends or family, loved ones, but you're putting it on a track for the world to hear.
Yeah, because I also think, like, as much as it's uncomfortable, there's so many people going through stuff.
It is.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of people don't talk about it.
Yeah.
It's like, one thing I realize is that you do need people in your life, like, that you can go to.
Yeah.
You know, you're not always going to feel comfortable going to certain people, but you need that person that you can just confide in and just express, like, hey, I'm really struggling with this. You know what I mean? A lot of people, they want to do right. They just want to live right. Like, that's all anybody wants to do, I feel like.
Yeah.
They just want to live right, but it's easier said than done. And I think a lot of people just should, you know, they need to realize, like I had to realize, man, we do have grace. Yeah. We don't have all day, we don't have forever, but you know what I mean? We got grace.
Come on.
You know what I mean? We got to make mistakes. That's the only way you grow.
Another part that I felt like resonated with me in that first verse was the line that says, sitting, drowning in my convictions, Lord forgive me because I got good intentions. That's the title of the song. But for me, that was a very mirror-like moment for myself. Yeah. And you can tell me what it meant for you and what you intended to, you know, come across to the listening audience. And then I'll share what I thought about when I heard it.
Yeah, I feel like this is probably one of the more self-explanatory lines where it's just like, I definitely you just convicted. You know, when, like I said, it comes back to when you just know you ain't doing what you're supposed to do, living the way you're supposed to. And, you know, you just have those convictions and kind of just sit in them.
Okay. You said sit in them.
Yeah.
So for me, you know what it felt like when I heard it? I felt like I visualized, you know, parts of my life, because nobody's perfect, where the word drowning in my convictions, I think it was drowning that did it for me.
Yeah, that's
because I've been in places where in life where it seemed like no matter how hard I tried, I could never not feel like I did anything right, bro. Like it was like I was overwhelmed with conviction. Almost like every aspect of my life was out of order.
For sure.
And when I got to that point, not only was it like world shaking, it was scary, man.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out how to put the pieces together.
Right.
Is that how you felt, or is that just?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, because you start to think like, dang, can I ever get right?
Man,
you know what I mean? That's really the question you start to ask yourself, and it's not a matter of that, I think, as much as it is just like, hey, you gotta realize when there's been things happening a certain way for so long, breaking patterns and breaking habits, it just takes time.
It's not easy.
Not at all.
Man, that's a great way to end that verse, and I feel like it ties into the title of Good Intentions, because for me, I feel like when you are of good nature, when you are of good spirit, and you try to do right, that song is for that person.
Definitely.
There are people, who might have evil moments or not their best self.
So many people.
You know what I mean? But this is for me, man. It felt like it was a song that could speak to my personal experience, bro. Sure. When I was trying to walk on a straight and narrow, when I was trying to be my best self, and try to live by the creed that I was brought up in.
For sure.
It layered my experience, man, as a young man. Even, not just men, but women as well. But that verse wraps it up perfectly, brother.
Facts.
It wraps it up perfectly, man. So job well done, man. We're going to hop into the last verse. And you started off with a very interesting line. One that might seem contradictory for me, but I need you to clear it up. All right? Sure. The line is, making time to waste time for my dreams I really want to see realized.
Yeah.
Now, our first listen, to me as a free spirit, as a artist, right? I'm trying to hop into your shoes and see, why would you consider time spent on your dreams as a waste of time?
So it wasn't necessarily saying that. So what I'm
clear
saying
it up.
In this place is like, when you make time to do something, like how many times have you said, I'm gonna do this?
Mm-hmm.
You done wrote it in your schedule,
planned it out, put it in your phone.
Did everything you said you wanted to do.
Yeah.
But you didn't do it, and you ended up spending more time planning than you did execute.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like what the vibe has been. I'll sit down and I'll plan, I'll do research, I'll study, and I'll make all this time to try to figure it out instead of just doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like all I'm doing is putting my dreams on pause. You know what I mean? Because I'm not pursuing it at that moment.
So that bar is really talking about almost over preparing instead of going out and executing.
Yeah, it comes back to that overthinking and also pursuing perfection.
Yeah,
which to me is a myth. You know what I mean? So it's like,
you dropping bars in the interview right now.
Perfection is a myth. I love saying that.
Okay. Do you feel like there's a healthy side to pursuing perfection though?
No. I feel like it doesn't exist.
Okay.
You can't achieve something that doesn't exist.
So what are you striving for? If not perfection, what is Hank striving for?
Progression. You know what I mean? You just want to get better.
Yeah.
So I just want to be my best self.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm never trying to be perfect, and because I feel like that allows too many questions that you allow other people to answer for you.
Yeah.
So.
I like that, man. And that goes into my last part about judgment too. But I'm gonna get this last bar off, okay?
Let's do it.
So, I'm ready for war and not to die, because this right here will make a grown man cry. Inspiration of that bar. Are you an emotional brother, Hank?
I wear my heart on my sleeve a little bit. You know what I mean? I could be a little emotional. You know what I mean? I'm a crier.
Okay. But it doesn't seem like this is a bar that's talking about just emotions, because you saying like, I'm ready for war and not to die. It's like, I plan on living after this battle is over.
Oh, yeah.
It shows the fight.
No, for sure. It's more of like, well, first of all, ready for war not to die. I thought of Biggie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Ready to die. I ain't ready to die. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm ready to fight it. You know what I mean? I'm ready to get through everything I'm facing, mentally, internally.
Absolutely.
Physically, all the things. You know what I mean? It's just like, I'm ready to, I go to war for this, but this is also strong enough to make a grown man cry. You know what I mean?
If we could take a moment, and when you say I'm ready to go for war to this, I want to be clear. for the people that are listening, to me, what it sounds like is you're ready to go to war for yourself.
For sure.
To fight, to become the better version of yourself. What would you say to people who don't necessarily have that drive to get ready to hop in battle and say, I'm going to fight to be my better self. I'm not going to let myself continue to drown in my convictions. I'm not going to let the judgments and the opinions of others continue to label me. I choose how my results end up to be. How would you encourage someone to get to that space where you are?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still growing. It's like I'm not there.
Yeah.
But it's like I also know that I would just tell them, like, it's a battle. It's a process. You just got to be patient. And you got to just, you can't have a negative mindset. You gotta believe that if you fall 100 times, you can get up 101. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's just making sure you don't stop.
Good. And I feel like for me, that's one of the lines that kind of encourages me to continue to stay in the fight, because I know that it's not just me that feels like I go through these inner battles with myself where I feel like I hold these standards that I always dream to attain, but it seems like sometimes I fall short, and it might not be intentional. It could be, just life happening sometimes,
sure.
Especially when you've lived a little bit, you've experienced relationships, you've experienced the professional world, the personal growth, the maturity of life as a whole. It seems like sometimes, shortcomings seep their way in. And I feel like it's healthy to talk about it. And I feel like this song is a good conversation from the artist to the listener. It's a very open and honest space. It allows people to relate, but it also allows people to talk about things like how we talking now.
And that's the goal, man. Like this song, and that's pretty much all the bars that I have in this song. But ultimately, this song is for that, just to all the music I'm making right now.
Yeah.
It's like it's very personal to me, but it's also things that I feel are very relatable to others.
For sure.
So it's like that's my goal in everything that I'm doing. And that's my goal in starting this series for you guys, just to get more depth into, my lyrics to the songs, to the meaning behind it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this first episode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there's more coming.
A lot of more heat coming.
You know what I mean? So thank y'all again. Thank you to my bro.
Indeed, brother.
My main man right here, man, for curating. But we're going to catch y'all next time. This was Behind the Lyrics.
Go check out Good Intentions, man.
Please, it is out now.
Go ahead and cut that off.